This is a video for the Feitiche Rouges Syndicate. Well guys, I'm in Montreal Airport, heading back to Pennsylvania after an epic, successful, exciting Bromont 3-day event with Radish. He was fantastic. We had him in the 2-star long. This was a big deal, this event. It's sort of an FEI long format 3-day event, and Radish was in the 2-star long. He'd competed at the 3-star level in Europe last year, so I sort of thought that he'd be very competitive because it's sort of one level lower than what he had been competing at with his previous rider, and I just thought this would be a great event to get to know each other, get to figure out all his little quirks, and also it's a sort of a high-profile event in the international world of eventing, and Radish did not disappoint. He did a sensational dressage. We scored a 20, which is probably my very best ever dressage score. It's must be up in the record books. It was about 83%. The judges absolutely loved him. This dressage test was first thing to go on Friday morning, and at this level Radish finds it very, very easy. There was 2 international judges, and they were just throwing 8s and 9s, and I'll send you a copy of the dressage test sheet. It was I might frame it. It was probably the best one I've ever got. He's brilliant actually. In the dressage, he's a very calm, quiet, trainable horse for the flat work, and then when he goes in the ring, he sort of puffs himself up to almost, he feels like he's 17 hands high, and he sort of gets a little bit excited and dances around. And anyway, the exciting news is that I think that this is how he's going to be at all the big shows. He's going to go in there and blitz them in the dressage. So we'd sort of put in a fair bit of fitness work to get Radish ready for Bromont. It's usually a pretty challenging course. It's there's a little bit of terrain there. There's quite a few little uphills, and it was a longer track, so it was about an 8-minute course, which is 2 or 3 minutes longer than what we'd been going in his lead-up events. So the one thing I found with him, especially cross country, is he's a hell of a galloper. Now, what I also did find on cross country is he's a little bit sharp and a little bit spooky. He was up on his toes in the warm up of the cross country, and then I got a rude surprise coming to the second fence where there was a cameraman with an umbrella and a garbage bag raincoat on, and Radish spotted him, stopped and spun around and tried to head back to the stables, and I just managed to hang on. You'll actually see it in a minute. It's quite funny. Anyway, I gathered myself back on, and then I had to go like the clappers to get the time. I really wanted to win this one. So anyway, going back to his dressage, he's getting stronger. I feel like when he first arrived in America, I felt like he was a little bit weak over his back and his hind end, and there's been no magic, just sort of consistent training on the flat with the dressage work. And then I've been putting him in our pond at home once or twice a week for some sort of resistance training against the water, which I do think's helped. And on top of that, he started galloping sort of once, sometimes twice a week up the hills in Pennsylvania. We've been very lucky to use the synthetic racehorse track gallops, which has definitely built him up. My plan is to probably give Radish 10 days vacation. I don't think this 3-day event knocked him around at all. Like, he was very healthy throughout the event. He was full of life after the cross country, so I think he needs a bit of a mental break, and he'd be a little bit stiff and sore, but his legs are good and healthy, and we'll give him a short break and gently just keep working away. We'll probably move him up to the 3-star intermediate level after this event. The big thing, I think, which you'll see a little bit in the cross country, is he's lightning fast, but he's a little bit wild and out of control. And one thing's for sure, he's got the speed and the stamina and the gallop. And I think over the next 12 months, a lot of my training will be the adjustability and the turning and the shortening up in a smooth way in front of the jumps. Because I think that's his flaw, that's his weakness. He's an exceptional jumper. He's ultra careful. He's lightning fast in his gallop, but he's a bit all over the shop with his control. Anyway, going back to the dressage, he did a phenomenal test, and we were in the lead by about 1 point. And then it was on to the cross country, and you're about to see us going to fence 1, and that's Radish having a bit of a shy, and I'm like, you're kidding me, aren't you? I gave him a bit of a tap with a stick, and then after I gave him a touch with a stick, he took off.
Very funny.
And I spent the next sort of minute just trying to calm him down and keep going fast.
Boyd being a little careful.
This was the first real question of the course, a big wide table down to that left-handed corner.
After this weekend.
So it was very hard to make the time in the 2-star cross-country course. There was only 1 or 2 horses that had done it, and then with our little spin around coming to fence 2, I thought, oh my God, if we're gonna win this, I'm gonna have to really open him up. And Radish loved that idea, and it was beautiful ground. It's a wonderful event, Bromont, and you can just see him flying up the hill here. And,
Radish was just being a little spicy.
There's no need to sort of encourage him to go any faster. He's as fast as they come, which is going to be wonderful once we get him up to the 5-star level. The gallop is so important.
This horse is absolutely beautiful. I was watching
It's kind of nice, actually. It was a longer course than we'd ever done, and once I got the freshness out of him, he was actually lovely to ride. The second half of the course,
that's to me why obviously we haven't had loads of horses
sort of
inside the time
stopped pulling, and I was more just sort of guiding him around. He really loves his job.
Perfect.
And
Beautiful.
I think he's going to ultimately be a very, very good cross-country horse.
So excited to be here.
So after our brilliant dressage, and we were 1 second over the time in the cross-country, which is pretty impressive considering our little detour. We were in the lead after the cross-country, and basically we had to jump a clear round in the show jumping to take the win. One thing with Radish, he's a very, very good jumper.
It is a good idea, especially with these younger horses.
Last week I actually took him up to Soggaty's to the hits at the Hudson jumping show, and jumped a couple of rounds with Peter Wild, so I sort of was quietly confident. This is the health inspection, the trot up. This is Sunday morning after the cross country, where the vets and the judges just check that the horses are in good shape, and most of the horses in the field look a bit tired, but Radish had his ears pricked, and he was I'm actually a bit lame there, look at me. Anyway, Radish was up on his toes. He's been a very healthy horse so far. We've had to keep a close eye on his feet. At about 4 weeks, his feet get quite long, so we've started shoeing the horse every 3.5 weeks just to keep his toes underneath him and his angles of his feet in good shape. So anyway, we're last to go. It was very exciting. We had a number of the syndicate members here cheering us on. It was a great event for anyone that's looking for a couple days away next year. I really encourage you to come up to Bromont. It's the most picturesque event in the world. It's in the sort of a ski town and wonderful restaurants, and just had a great feel to it. I think the hard thing with Radish's jumping is is not to wrestle with him too much, and sometimes he gets a little bit keen to the jumps, and it gets tempting to sort of pull him back a bit. So my coach Peter Wild's been trying to encourage me to go with him and leave his mouth alone at the fences. And he's an incredible jumper. He's got a wonderful technique, plenty of scope, and I feel like he really measures the jump. Like when you're coming to the fence, he looks at the top of the pole, and I mean, the biggest thing is that I sit really, really quiet on him and let him do his job. And it's going to be a wonderful horse, especially as we go up the levels, when the show jumping becomes so critical, of having a horse that just wants to jump clear after the cross country. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling as a rider. Anyway, guys, we'll get Radish home and give him an easy week and a half, and then just gently bring him back into work. And the ground's a bit hard at the moment, being summertime, and I'm off to the Olympics, so we'll give him a bit of a rest, continue with his training, and work towards getting him up to the intermediate and 3-star level. But thank you all for your support. I'm really, really excited where this horse can take us.